This will be the kitchen. Cabinets on that wall, cabinets here, a peninsula here.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Tynan. I'm out here with Jeff Roberts from Trifection. They're one of the best remodeling companies in the Houston area, and today we're going to view one of their projects in Sugar Land, Texas. It's a home that's over 100 years old, and he's done quite a job to it. Jeff, why don't you show us around?
Yeah, let's go take a look.
Tell us a little bit about putting together the old and the new.
Yeah, well, this house, before I even ever came here, it was already old and new. The original part, the front part of the house, was built in the early 1900s.
Wow.
The back part of the house was built in the 60s. The front part is on pier and beam and blocks, and the back part is a slab on grade. So whoever did that back then, number one, I'll tell you, they did a pretty good job because there's no foundation issues, there's no separation, there's no deviation in the floors. Whatever they did it right because it's held together.
The difference between the old and the new, what's the big difference?
Well, the old lumber is true 2x material. It's 2 inches thick.
2 inches by 4 inches.
Yes. The new lumber is 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches.
So did you cut those down out of 2x6s?
Yeah, that's what we did.
I know, you had to rip them, didn't you? I've done it, I understand, but you have to rip bigger lumber, so there's some waste there, but it's probably not too bad. I noticed the techniques are a little different too, but they're similar on some of the framing techniques on the doorways.
Yeah, like this was an old doorway.
Yeah.
And that is not how
I was going to say, the one thing that's different here is there's no header.
Right. This was acceptable header back then.
Yes. Today we would have them on end and probably a minimum 2x6 if not bigger. And I know you have some of those in the house here. We can take a look at them as we walk through.
One other thing I'll point out, the ceilings were all 8 foot in the entire house, but they wanted to get a little more headroom and feeling of higher ceilings without reframing the whole roof structure. So we raised the ceilings up 6 inches in here, I think 8 inches in the other room. Just to make it feel taller.
That's why you got those beams holding all these ceiling joists up there.
Yep.
I like it. This is the 60s edition right here.
Yep, where you see the tar on the concrete.
It took me a while to look at that. I thought that was the finished floor at one time, one of those new coatings that they're putting on concrete. But then I realized that's where the screeds were going.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you're saving the floor here, because I see the paper now.
Right, we're gonna reuse the old hardwood floors. And we're going to continue them throughout. We'll have to obviously buy some new hardwood, but when we're done, you won't be able to tell.
Sand and finish everything to match?
Right.
That's awesome.
This, I'll point out here, this bay window was not part of the original structure.
You can see
we just bumped it out.
Okay. It's an expensive bump.
Yes.
How about this beam here? I see you got this big mother going right through here.
Yeah, so originally there was a wall right here.
So this is a perfect example of taking out a load-bearing wall.
Yes.
Tell us how that happens.
Well, the joists are sometimes you can just cut them and slide the beam up in. Here, that's what we did. We cut them, but then we had to scab on the bottom because the ceiling height in here, we want to keep it flat across. We had to just spur them down.
Metal, yeah. Wood.
So we got lucky on this one because let me find the right spot. The old pier and beam foundation
right here
has a footing in the ground already.
Okay.
Had this been a slab, the whole thing, we'd have had to bust that out and put a footing to carry that load down.
The beam is right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't have to put that footing because the pier and beam house had a perimeter beam that we could use.
Did you plan it that way?
No. Like I said, we got lucky.
At the end you did? Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And the original beam was engineered to go here, and this is where the footing would have been.
Yes.
So we just made it longer and used that other footing.
Well, I'm impressed. Even with the roof bracing up there, you can tell that's not old technique, that's new. Because getting that ridge to hold up tight is important. I can even see the difference in the roof deckings from the original to the 60s, and I'm sure if you have any plywood on here, it would be today's roof decking.
Right. All right, so the room we're in right now, this is the kitchen. This will be the kitchen. Cabinets on that wall, cabinets here, a peninsula here that's overlooking the family room.
So I take it we're gonna have an island.
It's a peninsula.
Okay, so this is gonna be where the kitchen sink is?
That's where the sink
Yeah,
is.
because I'm looking for plumbing. I don't see any. So it has to be where the drain line is.
That's it.
Oh, well, that's nice. And I know out that way is access to the pool.
Yeah, there's a swimming pool.
Okay.
And so we open this up with lots of windows so you can see the backyard and see the pool.
And you got somewhat of a tray ceiling up in here now.
Yes, raise this ceiling like we did in the front.
I see that. That'll be nice. It'll give it just a little bit of space delineation.
And then that wall, we're going to build a whole entertainment set of
Is
cabinets.
that where Trifection's custom cabinet making
Yes.
shop is going to go to work?
Yes, well, and the
Right?
kitchen too.
And the kitchen, of course.
And the bathrooms.
Yeah. Okay, so you had it all. But here it's going to be a big,
Whole wall.
that's awesome. I know it'll be beautiful. We need to see after shots when you're done. People don't realize it, but homes back in the early 1900s, even into the 1960s, people raised 5 kids in 1,100 square feet.
1,100, 1,200
That's
square
it.
feet.
And that was a good house.
That was a big house.
I know. And so people today with 4,000, in Texas especially, 4,000, 6,000, they complain of room all the time. I don't get it. Because you got to air condition it too. How energy efficient is that?
And clean it.
But when it comes to mechanical systems like air conditioners, I take it this is going to have all brand new central air, heat, everything that we bring today.
And dehumidification system. This is a pretty high-tech system we're putting in here.
Is it?
Yeah.
How about, we'll talk about energy codes, and I know that you're under regulation to do certain things for today's energy codes. So just tell us what some of them are, because whether you have a choice or not, they are spelled out for you to get your permit in the city of Sugar Land, right?
Yeah, in the city of Sugar Land or Houston or whatever city we're working in. In this house, we have to spray foam the roof deck. We have to spray foam the part of the house that has a crawl space. We have to spray foam underneath the crawl space. Fortunately, they're going to allow us to put batt insulation in the walls because the walls are leaky anyway, and we're not rebuilding the house. So they're going to allow the batts, but everything else has to be sealed and foamed. Roof penetrations only for plumbing vents, no others.
That makes sense with the dehumidification system you mentioned earlier, because now we have to make our own ecosystem with these new high-tech air conditioning and heating systems. You can't just put a cooler in there and then let everything breathe like they used to.
Right. Now you'll get mold and mildew and moisture. And
so at least you're having to combat it, not that everybody agrees with it, but combat it with a mechanical system to try to keep the humidity levels where they don't cause problems with the foam. Right. Let's talk about the pipe today.
Okay.
What about this?
So this is PEX.
Okay, people talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And they never get to really take a look at it and see how it's got no joints in the wall and things of that nature. So that's pretty cool, but why do you use this now, say, as opposed to copper or some of the others?
Well, honestly, this is cheaper than copper.
Okay.
Copper's super expensive. I mean,
obviously,
metals are expensive. But copper has joints. We found out in the freezes, if you didn't know already.
It'll split right down the side.
Yeah, it's not. It is not good in a freeze. This has a lot of flexibility and able to expand when it freezes. Now there is a point where it will break as well.
Anything will.
Right. Right here is where the clawfoot tub is going to go. This is the drain for the clawfoot tub.
Now that obviously is new plumbing. Did you replace the plumbing under the house?
Yes, all of the sewer lines, all the way to the sewer main are new.
And that's where the tub's going?
That's where the tub's going.
That's awesome. What about in here? They have a big shower.
And speaking of the drains that had the old cast iron.
I see that. I see that little places here and there.
I think that part of this, of course, I didn't crawl under the house, but I think the old house had clay pipe.
Makes sense, because this is the part that was built in the 60s.
This used to be the exterior wall of the house, and we added on, we bumped out several parts of the house. This is one part we bumped out to give room for a shower. And this shower is going to be a curbless shower that you could roll in on a wheelchair.
Oh, okay, so just nothing to step over.
Right.
I like that. So Jeff, you told me that you extended the house out. Obviously, we're back in the master bedroom, and I can see that the framing where it used to be the old exterior wall going all the way down to the floor here and now we're going with a different floor. It was just purely just an extension to make it bigger?
Yes, sir. It was
Okay.
just to make it bigger.
And this is where that floor is going to have to match?
Yes.
All the way back?
Yes.
It's awesome. So you can actually see the old corner of the house was basically right about here, and it's stair step over to the bathroom. So that's this little bit makes a lot of difference when you're doing a home.
Yeah, just a few feet one way or the other does make a big difference in a house this small.
It really does. And I'm amazed if you look up at that roof deck. That's the original from the early 1900s. That whitewashed, it's still holding up.
And do you see on our addition, we used this. We found that material. We actually had it milled to match.
You did. That's awesome.
And we did that because when you go on the outside,
you see it goes outside, right? Yeah. We'll take a look at the outside a little bit. All right, so now we're outside here where this extension is. Jeff, I see over in the front towards the house that you have exposed rafter tails, and then here's your exposed lumber here that you were talking about on the inside.
It's like I said, we had that milled so that it would match the old stuff on the house.
Looks great. It really does. Because you just don't see detail work like that much anymore. People are boxing everything in and making it cover all the scrap lumber they put up there, right? And it looks like out here where we've got the swimming pool, we've got a deck over here coming out from what part of the house?
Yeah, this is a little porch coming out the back door. When we were in the family room earlier.
Okay, that's the family room here.
Right, that's where the TV room is.
And then you're going to have a deck out here and swimming pool. And what amazes me, I keep looking over here to my left, and all I see is this old brick. Are you getting a dumpster for that?
Nope, that brick's going back on the house.
Is that the original brick?
That's the original brick. The original brick in the early 1900s is solid. It didn't have holes in it.
That's right.
And the brick in the 60s, they started putting holes in the brick. Now, I've been told that the holes allow the mortar to hold everything together, get together better. What do you think?
It's yes and no. I mean, it could, but the fact of the matter is back then they didn't have the machinery. The machinery actually picks the bricks up and moves them around like this when they're done, and it reduces the cost of material on the brick, but it increases the amount of mortar they use too. So for the brick manufacturer, it's a great sales point. Does it really make it stronger? That brick is just as strong as this, and that one's older than this, so it's a debatable
And
topic.
It is lighter.
Yeah, it's easier for guys to handle. It gives you a finger place to put the brick, so it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Let's put it that way. But it matches pretty close. You'll see the newer brick with the holes. It's got these ridges on there, and that was to hold the bricks together a little better and make it a little more gritty. So that does work. But this old brick's pretty gritty too. So I want to see it when it's done, because that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work
brick when you can go find something that looks like it and get it delivered.
There was a small one-car garage that we tore down.
Okay.
It was almost falling down anyway, but we tore it down and poured a new foundation, built a bigger. It's still a one-car garage because it's going to be used,
but
not just for parking. It's going to be used for entertaining as well.
Well, you told me a little bit about this being a house in their family for I don't know how many years, and this is going to be their gathering home because it's a big Texas family, and in Texas, that's a big tradition if you grow up in a neighborhood and everybody sticks around.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it's nice. I could see, what did somebody said, the crawfish boil, the barbecues, the brisket. You got the swimming pool right outside the door here.
Ping pong table, pool
and you got a
table.
bathroom in here. That's awesome.
I would never go in the house.
Actually, I like the carport.
It's my man cave.
You're going to come build one for me. But I also see your brand new breaker system and your wiring over here.
Yeah, so you can't see it, but the power pole, this is overhead power coming in, is right behind that panel.
Let's see, we got the panel back here.
And this is the main panel that we didn't look at it, but inside the house, this is feeding a sub panel inside the house.
You have a sub panel in the house too?
That controls everything. This basically is just going to control the garage, the pool pumps, and feed the main panel.
Okay, but you have quite a bit of service coming in here for an old home like this, because you've got swimming pool, you've got the high-end air conditioning and the ventilation systems. What kind of service run do you have in here? Do you know?
Yeah, we can look if you want.
I'm always curious.
I don't remember.
Look at that top breaker. You're looking at probably when this house was built, if it had electricity, it was 60 amp at best.
Yeah.
And now it's well over 200, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And
you need it.
There's going to be a generator too.
Oh, well, there you go. So power outages will not exist at Party Central over here.
Nope.
I love it.